So maybe this should be our new enterprise. Pasture raised possum. What you got there, Angel? You been hunting?
Keeping them out of the chicken.
Angel got her a possum. Keeping them out of the chickens, are you? Yeah, you're a guard dog. That's what you do. Well, hey friends and neighbors, this is Chuck out at Sherton Park Farms. Welcome back to the farm. It is a beautiful, absolutely beautiful fall morning here on the farm. And by the time y'all see this, it will have been about 2 weeks since we've done a video. Ends up, we're only going to have done about, I think, 2 videos in the past month. We've had a lot of personal stuff going on. Mentioned some of that in the last video. Hangouts for a little bit. There's some things have changed on the farm. Some things have stayed the same. We've had some major stuff going on family-wise. We'll tell you about that. So hang out with us for a little bit. Let's get some work done on the farm. Catch y'all up on what's been happening. Can I film you working?
What?
Can I film you working? Insert snarky answer. Come on. Up to you. Man, we got a bunch of chicken, ain't we?
Can't have none of these. These are cheap.
These are customers sold. Well, that looks nice.
That'll work.
Supper.
Supper.
Ruben's dying to get in on the action.
Yeah, he is. It was funny. She couldn't get her back leg up. She was like,
Where's everybody at? Oh, I see them. They've still got residual feed left on the ground. Maybe they just get one today.
that's not surprised.
Yeah. A lot of feed left on the ground. Hello, piggies. Hello, piggles. So, we mentioned this on a video a while back. We are really, really cutting back on pigs. And right now, there's only 7 here on the farm. I've got this big mama up here. She's our superstar. She's the one that always has 14 or 15 in a litter. This big mama here. And then I've got 4 that came off of, I guess they were the last litter that was born here. This guy's got a big old scrotal hydrocele. This one's got a hernia. That's still an intact boar. And then there's another big red mama around here somewhere. So the reason we're doing the cutback on pigs like we are is a couple of reasons. Number one, we need the ground to graze cattle. And this upper field right here is an area that last year we grazed cattle on, and this year we've not been able to because of having a big group of pigs up here. And then also we've got the field over here to the left that we were running our paddock system on earlier in the year. We need that to graze cattle on as well. So we're cutting way back on pigs. We're going to keep this big mama here, that other big mama that you just saw, and then there's another big, like I said, big red mama in here somewhere. We're going to keep those. We will breed those somewhere probably around Christmas time, which will give us some piglets towards middle of April, somewhere in that neighborhood. We'll sell some of those piglets, and we'll keep a few for us to raise out and finish. Sonra's down here looking for this other red one. I don't know where she's at. A couple of reasons for this. Again, we need the ground for grazing. And pigs, in terms of labor, they're just an immense amount of labor. And we're trying to get to the point that this is not so physically strenuous on me and Sandra, because we're not old, but we're getting older. And so we're trying to set this farm up for long term in a way that we can manage it physically. We've seen a decrease in our profitability on pork. Did you find her? We've seen a decrease in our profitability on pork. Feed costs have gone up, processing continues to go up, and to charge what we need to charge to be profitable on pork is becoming a little bit more challenging. So we've sat down, ran the numbers. Beef right now appears to be beef and chicken are probably the two most profitable enterprises that we have. And so we're just going to spend some time focusing. We're going to spend more time focusing on that. We found some really good suppliers for stocker cattle, animals that we can bring on at 700-800 pounds, finish off, process, and then sell the beef. And quite frankly, I enjoy working with the cattle. I mean, we have there's a lot of satisfaction and a lot of fun messing with them. So that's what's happening with in the pork world. We got one. Where's she at? Not this big red mama. She's probably buried up in the weeds somewhere. She's buried up in the weeds somewhere. Head high. And we'll find her. Boy, he's a pretty rooster. This little guy right here. Man, he's a good looking fella. All right. Egg chickens, popular enterprise. We're selling a lot of eggs right now, aren't we?
Everything we can get.
I mean, it's just crazy. So, and we've got some more new egg chickens up in the brooder. We'll look at them in a minute. But this is a group of egg birds. We've had these guys for a while. There's some of them that are molting. You can see the feathers on them. I mean, they're just, and then part of it is a little bit of a heavy rooster population. We've had a little bit of a rooster eradication program going on for a little while, doing a few at a time whenever we're processing birds. But these guys are doing really good. Like Saundra said, we're selling all the eggs that we can get right now. We've changed up a little bit, and we're using pine shavings as nesting material in our boxes. And the reason that we're doing that is it's cheaper. And oh, that's pretty bad. It's cheaper, and it's easy to come out and trade them out. And we just add to. We don't have to throw out old nest pads. And the eggs are still looking good. Every once in a while we get some that are kind of poopy, but we're closing them off every night. We're being pretty diligent about closing them off. They didn't get closed off last night because Saundra was gone to a market and I didn't get in until after dark. Well, it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
Oh yeah, that's true. All right.
Yeah, I'm not fibbing. But we're getting plenty of eggs. I think we're getting about 3.5, maybe 4 dozen a day, kind of depending right now. And everything's still looking pretty clean.
We got 40 day before yesterday.
Got 40 day before yesterday. The trick being closing them up at night. Like I said, they didn't get closed up last night, and I don't have a bar. I've got to get a bar for this one because a couple of these boxes are getting a little pooey. Need to clean that out and add some shavings after a while. But the egg birds are doing good. These are all barnyard mixed birds. I mean, there's some red sex links and some buff Orpingtons, but a lot of them are just kind of Duke's mixture. Yeah, so this is what a broody hen looks like. They'll get in a box and she's just mad. She's just mad about it. So, yeah. All right. Getting eggs from yesterday. We'll let them do their business today. Come back tonight, get eggs again. Close the nest boxes up. For bulk feed on these birds, we use these Duncan's Poultry. These are 50-pound bulk feeders. We just pour a bag in there, gravity feed down at the bottom, and they just get all they want. Also, right now, we're giving them some free choice oyster shell. This works good as grit, and it also adds calcium to make the eggshells nice and firm. Meat chickens are done for the year, so we don't have any meat chickens left. Our goal is always to be finished with meat birds by October the 1st, and we achieved that goal this year. We processed how many was it? 181 birds on a couple days ago, so we got them kind of wrapped up and done. Glad to be finished with that. Egg chicken, or excuse me, why am I saying egg chickens? Meat chickens. Meat birds are a pretty profitable enterprise for us. We do pretty well on them. Make a little bit of money, not not a crazy amount of money, but we make a little bit of money on them. Keep the farm going, keep feed bought. And this last group, there's some big chickens in there. What? Let's see, the largest
one was 8 pounds. Huh?
Yeah, the largest whole bird ended up being about 8 pounds, which was a little much.
The smallest one was over 4.5.
Yeah, the smallest one was over 4.5. So they done pretty good. And this was a mix of Freedom Ranger Color Yield and Cornish Cross. So glad to have them done. Got a little bit of chicken in the freezer we thought we were going to have a little bit of chicken in the freezer for the winter time, but we're already getting orders, big orders. We got one customer coming. I think they're buying 30 or 40 meat whole birds today. Had another customer that wanted 15 whole birds or so. And then breast this past weekend, or excuse me, no, yesterday. Sandra had a market yesterday, and she sold, I don't know, 8 or 10 packs of breast. So it just goes fast. I mean, people really enjoy locally raised pasture poultry that's been raised out here in this kind of environment and not in a big confinement feeding operation. What you got?
Buns.
Bunnies.
Baby buns.
Well, now these aren't babies.
Over there.
Let's take the lid off and show them the little ones, can we?
Yeah.
How old are these guys?
They're probably 10 weeks now.
10?
10 or 12.
I would have figured, well, I wouldn't figure they were quite that old, but I guess they are.
Probably closer to 10.
Closer to 10. Mess of bunnies. So these are meat rabbits, and this whole deal works just like the chicken does. We move this forward every day. They do have a couple of feeders. They get a supplemental feed, but they eat a whole lot of grass. And this probably stocked a little dense, isn't it? Yeah. We need to get this other one. I got to get.
They get a little bigger. We'll smooth them over.
Yeah, I got to get a water fixed up for these guys. We've had a bucket that was broken, so we got to get that done. But
Newman's good at breaking water buckets.
Yeah, Newman is fantastic at breaking water.
Rabbit.
Yeah, I ain't gone. He's a demolition expert, ain't he?
He is.
I ain't gone. These rabbits are from polyface stock. All of the males and the females that we originally started with were from polyface, and then we've done this. We've kind of kept it a closed herd. We've kept out a couple of females and replaced a male, and we've still got another. We got another female you want to replace, don't you?
Yeah, this one right over here.
So do well on grass. These things they're tasty, aren't they? I mean, they're cute, but boy, they taste good too.
They are really
Are you want to take the lid off?
Yeah, let's look at these two.
I don't think that bucket's going to make it for me to take the lid off. Look at this. Yeah.
Newman strikes again.
Newman strikes again, bless his heart. I think I need to replace that one and then make a new one for this one, don't I? Yeah. Which way are you going? To the left. My left, your right. Watch out, Max.
So this one is the one that I want to...
This girl back here?
Yeah. So there's a white one up in the breeding set. She's mean as the devil.
She kind of goes after you when you open the cage.
I'm telling you. She goes after you when there's a cage between you. And so that's a female. She's got black ears and a black nose. I think she's just beautiful.
She's pretty, ain't she?
So I think I'm going to trade her out.
Yeah. Ham for the camera there, girl. These look like they're ready to be processed. Yeah. So, all right, bunny rabbits. So we got these new feeders. Problem that we were having was sometimes we weren't extending the roof back to keep the feed dry. So we found these on Amazon. I'll post a link in the description. It's just a little feeder with a lid on it. And you add your feed. Close your lid. Feed stays nice and dry. This stuff gets wet, it really clumps up and just makes a terrible mess. And then they won't eat it. So yeah, those little feeders with the lids worked out pretty nice. Got those on Amazon. Like I say, I'll leave a link in the description down below. All right, go. We're going to have to feed them. Let's feed them and then we'll talk about them. All right, that's a little quieter, except for them loud devils. So Thanksgiving turkeys, I don't know how many's left. We've lost a handful of them this year. Not sure what's going on, but we have lost some. We were going for a little while there. We were losing about one a day. But we seem to have sort of leveled out now. Y'all go on. We seem to have leveled out. We're going to process these guys in about 4 weeks, which will be the end of October, because we had to order a little bit early because the hatchery was going to be short on numbers for when we needed them. And I would have rather gotten them early. That way we can make sure everybody gets to the size that we need instead of having to process right at Thanksgiving and having a bunch of really small birds. So I think that'll work out. I think that'll work out a whole lot better. But they look good. The ones that are here are looking real good. The males were coming out in the morning. The males are strutting. Taking feed good. All right, okay, I'll tell them about y'all. These are guard geese, white Chinese geese. Sandra bought these to live with the turkeys as predator deterrents for aerial predators. And they are some loud devils. Son of a gun, they're awful. But they do their job. Daggone, loud. Good gracious. All right, so like I was saying a while ago, these are egg birds. We bought these to add to or replace some of the ones that are in the big group down in the pasture that we just showed a few minutes ago. We're going with a little bit more of a heritage breed, a little bit more of a big-bodied bird. These are all Buff Orpingtons, Dominickers, Aconas, I think is how you say it, Aconas, and then Easter eggers. And there are a couple of roosters in here. Whoop, 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 whoop. Maybe you shouldn't do that. There are some roosters in here. Sandra opened the lid on the other side and we had one to fly out. There are some roosters in here because we will come back and maybe breed some of these. Like if we want some more Buff Orpingtons, we'll pull the Buff Orpington rooster and a couple of hens out, separate them for a little while so that he can breed, and then we can hatch those eggs and get us some Buff Orpington chicks or Dominickers or Aconas or Easter eggers, whatever we want to do. In the brooder, they could come out now. They're pretty much fully feathered out, but we're just leaving them in here because it's not too densely populated. This brooder's good size. I mean, it works fine for keeping birds in here for a little while. And we'll move these out. We'll probably put them in some of our chicken tractors for a few weeks, and then we'll eventually introduce them in with the other egg chickens that are out in the eggmobile. So right now they're getting just a regular layer pellet. We'll fill the feeders up. We've got a drinker on a stand. That helps to keep your water a little bit clean. Here's what one of these stands look like. It's just real simple. A couple of 2x4s with some hardware cloth attached to the top. It just gets it up off the floor, gives it a little bit of elevation, and helps keep your drinker kind of clean. So super easy to make and better for your chick health. All right, baby chicks in the brooder. There she is. Yeah, we'll show her off. All right, so I guess in short, this is really going to become the centerpiece enterprise of this farm and what we're doing. Beef cattle, We've shown these before. I still have a few mama cows left from that herd that we had bought back in January, but we've bought some additional cows, and we showed that on a couple of videos ago where we had one of these black white face. I don't know what's showing up on the camera. One of these black white face that had got out anyway, but they're integrated and doing really, really good. But here's the nice thing. The other day on Friday, and we'll talk about what else happened last Friday. Actually Friday was it last Friday? Last Friday, wow. A little over a week ago. We'll talk about what happened that day. We also had this happen. We had a surprise calf. Little heifer calf, so she's a little over a week old. Number 17 right here is her mama. She is doing absolutely fantastic. She's a little small. Of course, I don't know if she's small or if we're just kind of used to seeing everybody else and everybody else is kind of big, but this little heifer calf is doing good, and this is mom. And mom's pretty protective, so we'll give her a little bit of a wide swath and not push them too hard. We also lost a cow a couple of weeks ago. Not sure what happened. Came out, found her down with behind the shop where we got some water for them. She was down. Called the vet. The vet came out. I mean, the vet really gave it the old college try. So big shout out to Dr. Brown. And then that cow ended up being expired the next day. It died the next day, so we had to bury it. We didn't do a video on that. That's just not a pleasant thing to have to show or deal with. It is part of the farm. It's, you know, it's part of farming, and it's what happens around here. But we decided not to show that. So got a few mama cows left. Our bull Mongo is gone. We've shown that Mongo's gone, so we potentially could calve up until, I think it's next June. I need to look at the calendar, but I believe it's next June. We potentially could calve up till then. There are a couple of them that are probably going to go away, either in terms of going to the sale. They'll probably end up going to the butcher for whole cow hamburger. They're those Jersey looking, or those Holstein looking, dairy cow looking things. And then we've got some, you know, some that are under a year here. That one was born, that brown guy back there was born in April. This one here, I think, was a March calf. So they're doing good. But yeah, we're gonna be spending a lot more time and a lot more focus on the beef cattle business, because that's, you know, it's what we enjoy doing. The labor on it is not quite as intensive as it is with she looks pregnant right there. Big old girl. Labor's not quite as intensive on these as it can be on the pigs. The feed bill is basically zero. We do have to buy a little bit of hay, a little bit of mineral. Otherwise, they just come out here and graze and get their own breakfast. We don't have to bring it to them. So that's the beef cattle herd. 24 right now, Sandra. Is that where we're at? We're at 24 head right now, counting the calves, and everybody's doing pretty good. So look at that thing, man. She is just as cute as a button. All right, there's the chores. That's what's happening around the farm. And like I said, we're working on kind of transitioning what our centerpiece enterprise is. For years it's been pigs, over to more beef cattle for kind of the reasons that I explained earlier. A lot of the footage that you just saw, I shot that earlier in the day today, and since then we had another big project kind of spring up on us unexpectedly, so I've been working on that. Got a lot of footage. That's going to be another video with a piece of equipment that we've got that I've not been able to use yet because of what's been going on family-wise. But we got some big material to work with and kind of get that going. So stay tuned for that. So like I said at the beginning, we're only going to have done about 2 videos in the past month. And like I had said in the last video, for those of you that saw it, we've had some family things going on with my dad. And so I thought it fair to update and let y'all know sort of what's been going on and where we're at. And give you a little bit more of the story. I was a bit vague during the last video intentionally, but I'll give you a little bit more detail now on sort of where we're at and what's going on. So about 5.5 weeks ago, 5 weeks or so now, my dad was diagnosed with severe stage 4 metastatic cancer. And he had initially had some back pain and had an MRI done, and there was a lesion on his back, on his spine, and was sent to a spine doctor who told him he had cancer, and then we were referred over to an oncologist. all kinds of tests, CT scans, PET scans, biopsies, and that kind of thing. And my dad really deteriorated pretty quick. 1 week he was, fully independent. The next week he was on a walker, and the next week he was in a wheelchair and couldn't stand and couldn't put any weight on his leg. I'll explain that in just a second. Went to the oncologist, and they decided, well, we need to put you in the hospital, give you some IV fluids, kind of get you tanked up. He was looking pretty rough. And they done an x-ray on that leg that he was having trouble with, and he had a really severe lesion that had eaten away at the cortex, the outer part of the bone. And so he couldn't put any weight. If he'd put any weight on that bone, it would have basically just broken. So went to surgery, had an intermedullary rod, had a nail put in that thing that goes up through the medullary cavity of the bone to stabilize it. And after surgery, he just didn't seem to bounce back as quickly or as well as we thought. He was getting a little bit better, but just wasn't bouncing back like we'd really hoped. And after 4 or 5 days in the hospital, we decided that he needed to go to a skilled nursing facility where he could get some physical therapy, some occupational therapy, really get some strength and some balance so that he could care for himself at home, move himself from the bed to the chair to the bathroom, just activities of daily living and that kind of thing. I might have mentioned this in the last video, actually. So went to the skilled nursing facility, and I've been in EMS for 30 years, so I called some friends of mine and had him transferred by ambulance from the hospital to the nursing home. And I got to the nursing home, hadn't seen him in, I think it was 2 days, maybe a day. We got to the nursing home, and I knew that my dad wasn't going to be around very long. That was on Thursday, I think it was. So the following Monday, during the course of his stay, he continued to deteriorate, just was not getting any better, was heading in the wrong direction. And so we had decided that we wanted to admit him to hospice and take him home. So on Monday, we were waiting on hospice, and I was in the room with him along with my mom and my dad's sister, my aunt. And we had ordered lunch. And we were sitting there eating lunch, and I just looked around, and for years I've seen it and I just know. So I told my mom, I said, we're not going to make it home. And about 15 minutes later, my dad very quietly and very peacefully passed away. And while I'm sad to see him go, the way in which he passed, I'm thankful for. I have seen over the years patients that are in nursing homes for 3, 4, 5, numerous years that are contracted. They can't care for themselves, they can't feed themselves, they're totally dependent on someone else for every aspect of their life. And my dad was only dependent in that way for just a few days. So while I'm sad to see him go, I'm thankful that he didn't have to suffer that fate. During the last 4.5, 5 weeks of his life, my mom, my brother, and myself, we were able to be with him a lot and provide care for him and do the things for him that he needed and spend quality time with him. We didn't know when he was going to pass, when he was going to die. We knew it would probably be soon, so we tried to make the most of every minute that we could. And for that, I am eternally grateful. So now we're trying to enter a world of new normal. My mom and my dad had been, so he was 75, and they had been together for 58 years. You do the math. They started dating, I think Mom said it was Labor Day weekend of 1965, and then they were married Christmas Eve of 1965. So if they would have made it to Christmas Eve, they would have been married for 58 years. And in today's day and time, if somebody can make it 5 or 8 years, let alone 58 years, it's about a dadgum miracle. So I feel extremely blessed and privileged that I was raised in a 2-parent home with Christian God-fearing parents that that impressed upon me and my brother the importance of hard work, honesty, and doing the right thing. And so my dad leaves a strong legacy in that aspect, but we're going to miss him. And it's going to be a tough go for a while, but I think if we pull together, we're all going to be okay. So that's what's been happening. That's where I've been. I appreciate all the calls, texts, emails, cards, messages, you name it. We've had so many people that have reached out, and I can't thank y'all enough. So, like we always say, continue to keep us in your prayers. May God bless you and your families, and we'll see you on the next video.